Hey guys, welcome to Farming by Faith. I'm Jen Mayfield, Robert's wife, and today we're going to talk about fertilized chicken eggs, incubation, and candling fertilized eggs. So we're new to this. We've never done it before. This is our first time using an incubator. This is our first time even seeing fertilized eggs. But we've done a lot of research online, and we've just tried to pick out the best things that we know to do and go from there. And we'll see the end result soon, hopefully. So this is a Hovabator, and from what I can see online, this is probably your most popular incubator because it's inexpensive. It runs about $50, this particular model, and we actually borrowed it from some friends of ours, Heather with the goats. You guys watched her video. So we borrowed it from them. They've never used it themselves, so this is the first time for all of us. So Robert and I collected these 13 eggs on Wednesday this past week. There's the first thing that we weren't really sure about. We actually let our hens sit on them for a week or two before we realized that they probably were fertilized, which is not necessarily a bad thing because you can't candle an egg that you've collected fresh. You have to incubate it for 6 to 7 days before you know for sure if it's fertilized and you're able to see something when you candle it. So we actually let her do the work for a week or so before we collected everything to take them in and candle them. So we collected them on Wednesday. I candled them, and it appears that 13 of them are fertilized. So we went ahead and put them straight in the incubator and got the process started. So a couple of things that you have to do to incubate eggs. Number one, you have to mark them, because if you don't have an automatic egg turner, which is available but we don't have one, you will be turning them yourself. So you have to play mother hen for 21 days. So what you do is you mark one side with an X, one side with an O, or whatever symbol you want to mark with, and that way you know which way you turned the last time. It's recommended to turn them at least every 6 hours. But a couple things I read said that if you want to mimic what mama hen does, that you need to do it more often, because she's pretty fussy over them. She rolls them around and gets them in the position she wants them to be in. So if I'm home, then I've been turning them more often. If I'm not home, then we just try to make sure we turn them at least every 6 hours. I was up at 4 o'clock this morning. I set my alarm to get up and turn the eggs. The next thing is when you lay them on this wire rack, you have to make sure that they're positioned correctly. The correct way to naturally position the egg, how it lays out in the coop with the hen, is on its side with the pointy part slightly pointed down. And that's because at the bigger end of the egg, there's what is called an air cell. And that's what that baby chick, when it gets big enough, will use to breathe. And also, the egg exchanges oxygen and carbon dioxide, so that air cell needs to be pointed up a little bit so that the chick knows where to find it. And then when they go to hatch, what happens is that carbon dioxide builds up and it drives them to take their first breath. And to do that, they have to poke through that air cell, poke a little hole in the egg, and then they'll continue to hatch from there. The next thing would be the temperature. You have to keep the incubator at 99.5 Fahrenheit for the eggs to be properly warmed. And the humidity for the first 18 days needs to be about 40 to 50%. Now, we don't have, I think it's called a hygrometer, which measures the humidity inside the incubator. What we have is just a cheap little thermometer that is made specifically for this. And it just lays on top of the eggs, and I can see through the window where the temperature is. We check it pretty often just to make sure that nothing's gotten messed up. So on day 18, you do something called a lockdown, where you fill up the troughs that are in the underneath of the wire rack, and that will boost the humidity, and you put this lid on and you don't touch it until they hatch. And that just helps everything to remain the same in those last days that those chickens are starting to hatch and breathe their first breath. So again, we don't really know what the humidity is, but the way I figure it is mama hen out there doesn't know what the humidity is either. So, you know, we're just trusting that God will bring life forth, and that's all we can do. So one big concern is if you're incubating eggs and what if the power goes out. So this actually happened to us last night. We had a big storm yesterday and knocked our power out for several hours. We did have a generator hooked up, but it leaked gasoline, and so the generator cut off. We had no idea how long the eggs had been not actively warmed. The incubator was still about 80 degrees when we got home, but of course this is, you know, very insulated, so it kept the temperature up enough, but we weren't really sure what we were going to find this morning. So this morning Robert and I candled every single one of the eggs again, and we could see every embryo except one that we were questioning was moving. So I think we're okay. So we just got the incubator back on as soon as possible and just kind of left them be, like we didn't even miss a beat. We just kept on going. So I did watch a video on YouTube from somebody else that they lost power while they were on vacation and their eggs sat in the incubator. They have no idea how long it was, but people around them said that it was over the course of at least a day, and they still hatched every single one of their eggs. So, you know, again, you don't really know what's going to happen. You just kind of have to go with it and try your best, I guess. So in just a few minutes, we're going to go into the bathroom and candle some eggs so you can see what it looks like to have a fertilized egg. And I'll show you an egg that doesn't have anything in it. When I first started candling eggs, I had no idea what I was looking for. But once you see what you should be seeing to see a fertilized egg, you know that that's what it is immediately. So one egg, we think we may have twins. A couple of us have looked and we both, or actually there's been 3 of us, see 2 embryos, we think. So we'll look at that one. Another one, you can see the veining really well in the egg, so we'll look at that. And then we have 2 eggs that I think are getting pretty close to hatching. I pulled up a chart today and just kind of looked to see if you could see like what each day would look like. And it looks like we might be at day like 14. Of course, I'm just guessing, but we'll look at that one. And then we have, I call it the question mark egg because it looks a little questionable. I'm not really sure if anything's going to happen with it. And sometimes you'll have that with an embryo that just doesn't develop. Or just doesn't make it. But the thing with those kind of eggs is you want to check them off more often because the warmer it gets, and if that embryo is dead, it'll rot and eventually will bust open in the incubator. So you want to catch that before that happens and spreads bacteria all over your incubator. So we'll watch that one for a couple more days and decide what to do with it here hopefully soon. And then of course I brought the egg that's unfertilized. So we'll look at that now. The process of candling, in the old days they used a candle, which is why it's called candling, but now you can just use a little flashlight. You really need a flashlight with a small diameter here at the top. You can use a bigger one, it's just harder. You want light to go straight into the egg and not out around it because it makes it hard to see. They do have things on the market that you can buy that's like a little box with a light that you just sit the egg on top of, but they're kind of pricey and a flashlight works just fine for us. So what you want to do is turn your flashlight on and just kind of make a fist over top of that. And then you're just going to put your egg right on top of your fist. Now you have to be super careful. Eggs are slippery. You just want to make sure you're holding on to it. And then you can just turn it around. And this is an unfertilized egg, so you're not going to see anything, or you shouldn't. We may see the air pocket, but probably not. Well, maybe a little bit right there. But that's in every egg. It doesn't have to be a fertilized egg to have that air pocket. So this is the question mark egg that we're not really sure about. It definitely is fertilized. Right there you can see that air cell very well. So there's that dark spot that we're talking about. So this egg you can see, well maybe, there's the dark spot, that's the embryo. And then if you look, let's see if I can get it, there's the air pocket. If you look, I don't know if it's picking up or not, but you can see all the veining down here.
How cute.
I'm gonna turn a little bit. Oh, there's a good view of it.
Hey guys, thanks for watching this week's episode of Farming by Faith. I hope it encouraged someone today. My beautiful wife did a wonderful job talking about chickens. Also, check out some of our other videos. Heather has a great video of how she received her herd of goats and how the Lord provided for her. So check out that one. Also, like, subscribe, leave any comments or questions that you may have. I hope you have a blessed week. Take care. God bless.